Yes, show and tell, just like in grade school, every Friday when the teacher said, hey, if you have something you'd like to share from home, come on up front, share with the class, tell us all about it. Mike MANSURY, what do you have to share with the class this week?
All right, so what I'm going to bring down right here is probably one of my most prized possessions in the world, and it's because of the person who gave it to me. So growing up, I was very, very close to my grandmother. My grandmother, unfortunately, passed away when I was 12 years old, but I had an amazing 12 years with her. And, later in life, she had diabetes and suffered from polycystic kidney disease. So she would have to go in pretty regularly for dialysis. And at the time we were living in the Bronx, which is where we lived up until we moved to the suburbs of Long Island when I was 11. And I remember one day coming downstairs because she had just gotten dropped off in front of our building from dialysis, and she was living with us at the time. And, in Spanish, she says to me, let's go for a walk. And she was in her wheelchair, and she leads me to like a local mom and pop toy store that we had not too far from where we lived in the Parkchester section of the Bronx. And I was a huge rockers guy growing up. I mean, Shawn Michaels was always my number one. And I'd already had Shawn Michaels, the bad guy Shawn Michaels too, right? Like this was just, HBK's in the midst of finding out who he is as a heel. But this toy had just dropped, and it was the singles Marty Jannetty.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this is the old school Hasbro toys. And this guy has been with me and just everywhere around the world that I've lived. He's always been with me, like professionally. He's always been in my work offices and space. And since when I'm not on the road with AEW, I typically work out of home. I got Marty right here on the shelf to my right so that he's always with me. So this thing, because of just how important my grandmother was to me outside of just like pictures, this is the last thing, physical thing from my childhood that I can tie to her. And man, it'll always hold a special place in my heart. Even though Marty Jannetty has unfortunately kind of gone off the deep end a little bit with some of his wacky Facebook postings, that figure means the absolute world to me.
Wow. Amazing. Amazing.
Now, do you collect other figures as well? Or is it kind of, you like limited just a couple things because of your childhood?
I just kind of like, now as an adult, like I never really, with certain things, right? Because like, not like a big drinker, never been like a big drug guy, but with things that like I have like an addictive, fanatical personality. Mm-hmm. And I was always afraid of getting into the action figure game because I'd go broke. You know what I mean? My walls would look like yours. Like, I know, Mikey, you're a massive Transformers guy. Like, even like the Funko Pops, right? Like I've always been very, very careful. Like I think this Tony Soprano one is probably one of the only ones that I've ever purchased on my own, because I knew if I went down that rabbit hole, I would just be swarmed with boxes. So like now as an adult, like the things I get are just things that are like, really important to me. Just like little things that I like to kind of have around me as like a reflection of my interests, if you will.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think as we get older, our tastes don't necessarily change, but the quality over quantity changes.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you so much for the share.